If you are planning a trip to Mexico, this is a video you're gonna wanna save because we are so excited to share with you today our top 10 recommendations for the Yucatan Peninsula. So some background, if you're new here, my husband and I are traveling to every country in the world. But before we did this, we first traveled the 50 states of America and then we lived in Mexico for about 2 years. So Mexico is one of our favorite countries in the world, and we're so excited to share with you today our top 10 recommendations for the Yucatan Peninsula. So first, what is the Yucatan Peninsula? Well, it's all the cities that you've probably heard of, like Cancun, Cozumel, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, but it's so much more than that. It stretches the whole way down to Belize and covers a lot of biodiverse areas, and then stretches also to the west and covers a lot of beautiful culture-filled cities. And there's just so much to see in what appears to be a small peninsula, but is so much more than you imagine. So I'm so excited to make this video. It's a video that I wanted to make for a long time, and starting off with one of our favorite experiences that we've had on our travels, which is swimming with whale sharks. So whale sharks are technically the largest shark in the world, but they are gentle giants. So before you get too worried, this is a great activity for the whole family. Kids can do it. You don't have to be super athletic. You just have to know how to snorkel, and it's so amazing being up close in the water to them. You realize just how small you are. We did this off the coast of Isla Mujeres, which is our number 2 recommendation, because the beaches of Isla Mujeres are so blue, so clear, so calm. Highly, highly recommend it. It's a short ferry ride from Cancun area and gets you there within, I want to say, like less than an hour. So now we're going to circle back to the places you've already heard of and quick recommendations for each one. So number 3 would be Cancun. If you want to experience an all-inclusive, Cancun is an excellent place to do it because relatively the all-inclusives are inexpensive compared to other countries. It's pretty close to the airport, so it's not like you have to land and then drive really far to get to the place you're staying. And there's such a wide variety of ones to choose from. Because we lived in Mexico, we didn't stay at a whole lot of all-inclusives, but we did actually go to our honeymoon in a place called Excellence Playa Mujeres, which is just north of Cancun. Number 4, I'm sure you've heard of Cozumel. Cozumel is a prime cruise ship spot. But what I didn't realize until we moved there is how incredible of a dive location it is. So if you're comparing Cozumel to other places in the Yucatan Peninsula, it might not be my top choice for all-inclusive resorts or for culture. But if you want to scuba dive, this is the place to do it. We got advanced and regular PADI certified there. And there's 2 specific reasons why I love scuba diving in Cozumel. The first is because there are so many beautiful and colorful fish everywhere. And the second is because of the drift diving. So they drop you off in one location and then they pick you up at another. And it's kind of like a conveyor belt of the ocean that takes you along. Okay, moving on. So number 5 is Tulum. Now, if you've heard of Tulum, it's probably because of the Instagram destination that it is. And that is pretty much the truth. I have heard many mixed reviews about Tulum, and I think it's all about expectations. So if you're going there and you're trying to like fit so many things into one day, it's gonna be a little overwhelming. But if you're looking for a place that you can relax, eat good food, and take good Instagram pictures, and you're trying to see like a few spots in a day, it is a little more expensive than other places in the Yucatan Peninsula because of how popular it is. But I personally feel like it's a place that you've got to see in your lifetime. And before we move on to the place where Hudson and I lived, I wanted to share a little bit about our sponsor for today's video, Mindtrip. The reason why we're so excited about Mindtrip is because we know that you guys watch our videos for destination inspiration, and you're trying to plan an itinerary, and you're frantically jotting everything down of the places you want to see, things you want to do. Well, Mindtrip is an AI-powered travel platform that makes travel planning so much easier because it will show you the recommendations for many of the destinations on our YouTube channel in a much more simple way. All you have to do for this video is click the link below. You'll see our recommendations, photos, maps, and then you can put together an itinerary. You can look at reviews and then customize your own trip by favoriting the things that you like and adding it to your trip plan. And then then you can even share that trip plan with your friends directly through the Mindtrip platform. It's amazing and it's so easy. It's changing the game for travel planning because instead of having to research in a million different places and then having to write everything down and then sort through it, it literally does it for you, and then you can click and favorite the things that you like as you're travel planning. You're gonna love it, so click the link below and let us know what you think. Okay, moving on to number 6, the place where Hudson and I lived, Playa del Carmen. Now, Playa del Carmen also has some mixed reviews because it is more touristy. The area we lived was in a neighborhood outside, which was really calm and peaceful, but the main strip called 5th Avenue of Playa del Carmen is very touristy. But the thing I love and would recommend if you're visiting Playa del Carmen is to use it as a destination hub and taking day trips out from there. There's so many activities you can do, whether it's ziplining or four-wheeling. These are all things we did. The cenotes, which we're gonna talk about next, a lot of them you can reach in a day trip or in a weekend trip. So if you're looking for a place to kind of like make your hub that's modern and still has amazing food, Playa del Carmen is a good place for that. But moving on to some more off the beaten path destinations. Bacalar, number 7. This is a place you've got to see. A lot of people call it the Maldives of Mexico because it's a lagoon. It's actually not the ocean, but it's this like perfectly blue, clear water, and because it's more off the beaten path, it's more south, there's less tourists there. It's just like a really cool laid back vibe, beautiful water, and joining a group tour on a boat for a day out on the water is not too expensive either. And then to the north is Isla Holbox. Now this is kind of like a similar laid back, off the beaten path vibe, but a little more difficult to get to. Bacalar, you can take a car, road trip down south of Tulum. This you have to take a ferry to from the north of the peninsula. When you get there, there are no cars. It's unpaved roads. You take golf carts to get around. Beautiful ocean. I would say not as beautiful as Isla Mujeres, but because of the atmosphere is what makes it. They also have flamingos, and depending on the tide, you can walk out really far onto the sandbar. So if you're looking for another off the beaten path destination in the Yucatan Peninsula, that is one to definitely add. So next we're moving on to 2 things you cannot miss when you visit the Yucatan Peninsula. The first are cenotes. So what are cenotes? Big sinkholes in the ground filled with water. I'm sure there's a much more scientific explanation for that. But each one is so unique, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, in the Yucatan Peninsula. Our personal favorite is Cenote Satun, which is near a town called Valladolid. And it has this beautiful ray of sunshine that comes through. You have to look up to time it at the exact right time. It's worth staying around for because there's like a covering of the cenote, but then one hole the sun shines down through perfectly. It makes for a beautiful picture, and you can also swim in the cenote. Another favorite is called Cenote Oxman. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it has this swing, like a rope swing, that you swing out on and can jump off into the water. So if you want a full picture of what the Yucatan Peninsula has to offer, cenotes are something that you cannot miss. You can also scuba dive in cenotes. If you like scuba diving, it's a very unique experience because unlike the ocean where you can just go up, in cenotes, part of them are covered and you can't just go up anytime you want. We dove in a couple of them, but the most commonly recommended one is called Dos Ojos, and it is a very unique experience. And number 10, which I actually just added one secret more after this, are the Mayan ruins of the Yucatan Peninsula. So Chichen Itza, for example, is one of the 7 wonders of the world. So if you're visiting the Yucatan Peninsula, there is no way you can skip that. There are countless others. Each one is unique in its own way. So if you want to see more culture in the Yucatan Peninsula, I highly recommend visiting the Mayan ruins. And this is my secret one. Speaking of culture, there are so many cool towns and cities that are not necessarily like top of the bucket list for people that are so worth seeing. 2 specific ones are Merida and Campeche. They are like colorful towns that just have amazing people and amazing culture and amazing food. So the best thing you can do if you're in the Yucatan Peninsula is rent a car and road trip through these places. I personally would start with Cancun and then go south to Playa del Carmen, Tulum, Bacalar. Then go north to Isla Holbox and over to Mérida, which is the biggest city of the Yucatan Peninsula, and Campeche, which is so colorful and beautiful. It does get hot there, but it gives you a unique glimpse into the amazing culture and people of Mexico, which, just to clarify, this video is just on the Yucatan Peninsula. There is so much to see all throughout Mexico. Even after living there for a couple years and touring a lot of the different states and regions, we feel like we only touched the surface because there's just so much to see and do. But I hope this helps with your planning. I hope you have a wonderful trip. We love Mexico and I know you will too. So if you liked this video, we'd love if you subscribe for more, and we'll see you in the next one.